Good evening, everyone. We welcome you on behalf of the Search Report News Service. Today, with us on our panel on Gen X India's Young Guns, we have Mr. Rishabh Chopra, Director of the Southvale School. Hi, Rishabh.
Hi, Ravi.
We welcome you on behalf of our show, brother.
Thank you so much.
So, Rishabh, belonging to a family of real estate developers, your father is one of the most renowned builder and developer of Himachal Pradesh. How did it plan you? How did you plan to move to the education sector?
Basically, it's been a very interesting life event. I'm a civil engineer. I did my bachelor's in civil engineering, and then apparently, because we belong to a business background family, so I wanted to supplement my knowledge, and I wanted to do an MBA. I ended up doing an MBA in innovation and entrepreneurship, which was quite interesting. I was able to do and study a lot of case studies along with that. And one of the case studies about a year back that I read was on education. And that really had an effect on me. And what I did was I apparently started on a project for 6 months for my MBA, and I made a whole concept of a school, and excluding the financials and the financial part, I made up a whole concept and I started working on it.
This was while you were in Australia.
Yeah, I was in Australia. So this worked out quite well for me. I got it critiqued by 250 people. I had presentations, people liked it. We worked on a lot of changes, and somehow I was able to come up with a very interesting plan that I thought. And as soon as I got back, and I thought that this would be a very good start, and I would want to give back something to society, and I thought that this would really.
So how do you maintain that balance, that equilibrium between your family ventures and your own vision thing,
Yes.
the Southvale School?
So what I do is basically I've tried as a little backstory. This school, my passion for schools actually started because of my mother. She is a housewife now, but then before she got married, she was a teacher, and my mom was very interested about it, and she was very passionate in terms of teaching us, and I saw that. As I grew up, I always had that in my mind, and my mom had to leave that for us. So what I decided to do was, I thought I could make up something, and once I came up with the concept and I surprised my mother, she's now the director of the school. So my mother has passion for the project, so that ways we get along. And on top of that, my father and me work together on all our other ventures. So we've been able to come up with an equilibrium, and we've designated roles to each other. So basically we balance it out, and it sort of works out.
So Rishabh, the main vision thing behind the Southvale School, apart from what you shared with us, what is in the education systems that you discovered you want to give back to the society, like you just said? What were the shortcomings in the education system, right from the primary to the secondary to the higher education, which you, over the period of last few decades, you saw
So what happened
in your own life?
Yeah, so what basically happened, I studied in a great school in Sweden, which is St. Luke's. I did my kindergarten to class 6th here, and then I went to the Lawrence School Sinnar, which was amazing. And then I studied at a university, then I studied again at a university. So what I saw was that there were gaps. And being from Sinnar, I actually felt something there. What happened was I was studying in St. Luke's, and our class sizes were very large. So we had about 52 kids in my class from the last class that I remember. And then I went to Sinnar, and it was 25. So what that actually got to me, because in 52 kids in the class, you get 30 seconds per kid for one period.
For one period.
One class. 30 seconds is not enough, I feel. Then what I did was I came up with a very transparent concept. I told everyone, I came up with this with my staff. What I did was I came up with smaller classes. I got there. The concept was quite simple. Kids get more time with the teacher, more face time. It's more transparent. So what I was able to do was I created a software. We basically got it done for us. We created a software that basically reports in everyday activities of the kids to the parents. So the crucial years when you actually want to see how the kid is doing and what is he good at and how is it, you know, what career is he going to pursue. You actually see that in the early years. And that sometimes we basically, you know, we ignore it or somehow something happens and that gap starts increasing. What I felt was it was very difficult for me and my friends at that point of time to come up and say that this was it, because we didn't know as well. Because the whole education system is stuck around the same concepts of reading the books, learning the books, and then writing what you get. And I felt that more people trying to practice what they are doing. A lot of the curriculum is supposed to be based on a lot of activities. I feel the sports in those early years need to be very much linked with the education.
True.
So that they keep a clash and then they keep coming up together. That way you actually see sort of growth in the kid that yes, he might be a good cricket player, he might be something. So you probably see
to discover the real potential in a child.
Yes, exactly, that's what I'm saying. So I saw that, and basically through all my experiences I was able to really I had a very clear picture in my head that my curriculum needed to be very solid. It needed to give kids more time to grow, and they were able to talk to their parents, and then we could come up with rebuilding or designing someone's future rather than going in the set format that is already made.
That's truly a good vision. But what are the future plans for Southvale? When do you intend to expand the class network? Do you have any further plans to take Southvale School up to a higher education level also?
Yeah, so what we're trying to do is it's from playway to class 5th for the first year, and we'll definitely keep growing by the year, and this will be till class 12 in the coming years if everything goes well. And we also have a concept of including a boarding school in the area.
Okay.
So it has the much of area. We've calculated that we can actually come up with that, and it's a very short scene plan that we're going to come up with.
The difference between a formal education, that's literature, and the education that trains both heart and mind. How do you differentiate that?
I basically feel that education needs, we need to have a very critical approach in this. I feel designing that particular learning method for the kid. So, for example, I was just talking to you about my software, right? So what that basically does is it has 3 basic elements that actually include the foundation of the software. That's accountability, transparency, and participation. So rather than making a student portal, we made a parent portal. And we've seen parent portals before. So what we did was, we were able to include this process of educating the parents and educating the kids at the same time. Now, we all know that parents would do anything for their kids, right? They give in and they have sacrifice. I felt that kids stay with us for a short amount of time of the day, and they stay with their parents for longer. And for me to come up with something, so what we did was another little concept. We have a no homework policy to class 4.
What is no homework policy?
The kids don't get homework every day.
So how do they revive what they studied?
So the whole thing is built on that, and that's what I'm saying. So they get more time with their parents. Now the reporting system analyzes that at point of time, what kind of education had to be imparted at that point. We have critique articles going to their parents as per what's happening with them. So we tend to educate them through that, and little learnings, so that because these years are very crucial. We want the kid to have a lot of me time, and then they're able to come up with something too strong. And I feel education that's how it should be imparted. And for 5 to 6 hours of constantly telling someone what to do again and again, I don't think that makes any sense by the end of it. I feel it needs to be very critically given to the kid so that he accepts it, and then then they can practice the same thing that they do. So our method is very much linked with, so the teachers, parents, and the students are very closely linked. So that's how I basically want to structure it. So everyone's accountable to everyone. So it's I also have this little, I have another thing. We don't have PTMs.
You don't have PTMs?
No. We have we have screening sessions. So what that does is every month parents come and meet the teachers, and then they discuss on the daily reports that they've been getting, and then they decide that yes, my kid's going this side, or it's this direction that I want to go to, and we don't see the kid doing that. So they basically discuss. They don't really tell the kid that you've done something wrong or something happening. You try and come up with why the problem arises and then solve it. PTMs, in my time, I actually basically had a very bad, experience. I have had bad experiences. I'm sure that you've had a couple as well. So basically,
it's basically a drilling session.
Yes, and I don't think drilling works because then you come back home and then you're just sad. And I don't think anyone deserves to be sad.
That is a very, very good point which you've touched, because these PTMs somewhere in many children, they get resentment against the teachers, against the school, against the education institutions, and the way you are nurturing your children, that will be a very, very good experiment which can be replicated by many other institutions in the future. Rishabh, you've been very, very fortunate to get good education. Your father, who's your real life model also, has given you the best of the education. Right from St. Luke's to the Lawrence School Scenario to the prestigious JP University and to the university in Australia. So what is it that you learned in your education years, in your building up years, you want to give back to the society? Apart from the vision of Southvale School we heard, what else do you feel lies in the society, the way where you belong, society of this particular area of Himachal, the Sol and Shimla belt, which you intend to get back to the roots?
Okay, so what I basically learned in all my time, I was also working in the middle, was working for a German pharmaceutical company. So I was doing my MBA at that point in time. What I felt through all these years, that only one thing, that's sustainable learning, that basically supplements everything. Sustainable learning, being proactive at the time that, life gets hard, we understand, it gets monotonous, we understand. One particular method that I want to come back with my school is that every day is another day, and that, basically we need to tap into something and learn something else. Like, we need to know that, there is some gap in whatever system that we're in, be it Australia, be it India, anywhere you are, keep going again and again and working on something that you're passionate about is what pays off in the end. That's what my life lesson is, I think.
A very, very important question in continuation to this one. Like you just shared the reason behind opening the Southvale School, one of the reasons, your mother, who gave up her education for your upbringing, to give you 100% quality time. So, what is it that you have learned in these recent days of Southvale School, the education system in Himachal, in India, in this particular region, which lacks, which you have got hold of, which you intend to provide to the children, which they have not yet received? And do you believe that a complete education is a package of advanced updations, modern techniques, being updated with the society, but at the same time, you hold back to your cultural and your traditional values? Does Southvale equip that facility to the students, to the children, to the parents?
Alright, so coming up to that, basically, I feel that traditional values are very important. That's why the whole thing is built up on accountability. I was trying to come up with a system where people had more time. Kids had more time to talk to their parents. So my whole curriculum is based on the fact that you don't really have to go back home and keep studying again and again. Your whole experience with the school needs to be based on the fact that you are learning something.
True.
So when you're in class 1, you're not jumping just because you're supposed to jump. You're supposed to know something more. Your sports need to be aligned with everything. So I wanted to give it more time, and I feel that the traditional values and traditions and everything, they actually only get passed on through parents. And I feel that's the best way.
That's the best way.
So if I can be of service, and then we've been able to come up with something that gives more time to those children, they'll be able to talk more, they'll be able to ask those questions to those parents, because we want to set it all around that. I feel when we have our traditional values, I think those pay off even when we go anywhere else. If you live abroad, anywhere you go, those things hold on to you. And if they do hold on to you, you have compassion, and you feel that. And I feel those values are so important. You need to know that you're proud of the country. You need to know that you have to come back and give something. I feel that because my father and my mother were able to pass on that to me, I was able to plan my life here again. Like I came back right after I was done with my course. I did give my last exam on the 16th. I took my flight back on the 17th and I was back. And take a day off. That's what I'm trying to say. That if those values are passed on to you, you understand that you have to come back and give back.
True.
And I feel so. In terms of talking about the modern techniques, we've incorporated smart classrooms there, and we've also done something different. So basically, smart classrooms, all these education providers have a very set curriculum. So what they've done is, since like 11, 12 years, I used to study in a smart class as well, so I'm quite familiar. And in my time, they just started. So they have a very set curriculum, and the content is still the same. So it just keeps updating a little bit, but it's still more or less the same. So I feel that's not really upgradation of the technology in terms of that. Like the knowledge isn't, because we've learned something more in these 12 years for sure.
Yeah.
It needs to keep updating. So what we've done is we've created a whole system where the our teacher, have to come up with the syllabus first. We make a learning guide, not just the syllabus like England does. We make a learning guide with respect to weeks. And then in that, they have certain obligations in using the modern videos and techniques and everything together so that it binds together. I of course feel that modern technology is really, really important, and I feel that we need to be updated every single day for it. And we've kept that very much alive in our concept.
But do you feel, Rishabh, these tech-savvy ways, the modern technology, the ultra-modernization in society, are we depriving of the old school thoughts, the old school ways, which were very, very imperative for our upbringing?
I think so. If you ask me, now kids, I don't know last time when you wrote, of course you're a journalist, of course you write, but I had a tough time when I was doing my MBA, because there was no writing at all. There was no writing. There is no writing at all. And since I came back, here we have a little bit of writing here and there. And we've had a lot of transmission, I totally understand, but I think it's important. I think you need to really find that balance. Because when you come back, imagine you haven't written nothing for 2 years and you've just been typing.
Yeah.
So you certainly need an equilibrium there. But even if you think
conventional rules are important.
Yes, they are. Of course they are. But they need to be very much aligned with issues like, for example, environmental issues. Paper is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, recycled paper, all of that's coming up. But I feel that if you can actually these tablets and these computers have actually eased a lot of things up.
True.
So even though we've practiced this as well, we have very minimal printing request at all.
Okay.
So parents get everything on their phones and on their Macs and their laptops and everything. They get it all on their. They get all the information. They're not supposed to print it off and give it to the kids. So we want to basically come up with ICBSE. We want to follow that pattern, which now CBSEs are way into that, and that's basically books being transferred into electronic tablets. So which is a very good concept that it works for longer and all of that. We're trying to still look into things that the libraries need to still be maintained, because you can imagine there is no equilibrium when it comes to that. Either you go to a digital library or you go to conventional systems. So we've been trying to maintain a balance. Yeah. Because we don't want to give a shock to the system as of now. But yes, it is starting few years, we do have books and we have everything. But I feel that time's coming that we need to adopt change.
On a lighter note, Rishabh, apart from work, what does Rishabh like? To chill out in his leisure of time. What do you do for recreation?
Yeah, so I'm a shooter.
Oh.
Yeah, so I was able to do my nationals when I was in class 12.
Trap.
117.
117.
Deep side. So I shoot in my free time. I like to do it here. It's quite relaxing.
So you have an in-house range?
Yeah, a little, not too big, but yes. And also I love to work out. Spend a couple hours a day keeping there. Keeps me relaxed, keeps me in check. keeps me very motivated, and it's been going on with me. So yeah, I have a few friends here who I look up to, and it's quite.
So, what is it that you learned? You traveled so far and wide. You've been moving to almost all over the globe over a couple of years. You've traveled widely read. So, what is it that you think the kind of prosperity model you want to bring for Sudan?
I feel more accountability. That's what I'm saying. More accountability. More of the fact that people are.
Is there an improvement in the kind of mentality which you never liked earlier in the society we live
I've
in?
never disliked anything in India, but I feel we've actually grown a lot.
The idea of shortcuts in India, the jugaad tactics,
Yeah.
means here the idea is, since you're an educationist now, talent promotion, inclusive growth, and inculcating the spirit of real deserving talent, highlighting the real talent in society. That is where the real picture comes in. Rat tapism, corruption has deep rooted our society. We, no matter how positive outlook we have, we cannot shy away from the real facts. So there were a couple of things in India which every youngster of your age, of my age, wanted to come out of that. We want India the best. So what is it that you saw, a positive change in India when you came back from Australia?
No, I feel it's growing every day, and I feel people are lot. See, that's what I'm saying. Now people are accountable to what they want in life. So, for example, we were talking about the whole screening sessions. So you're talking about talent.
Yeah.
I wanted to tap that at a young age. I didn't want the parents to know when the kid was in class 12 that he's going to be a great cricketer. Because I don't want that. I want them to know if he's going to be, so that we work on that. That's what I'm saying. Tapping everything earlier is much easier.
Much
Actually, yeah. So it's more, and then working on it is the best way to go about it. Like, for example, when I did my shooting, when I started shooting, I wasn't a good shooter at all. My first 2 days, 3 days were bad, and then I stopped. Then I gave up on it. I had a great mentor. He's my shooting coach, and he's asked me to come back and try again. And he gave me personal time, and it worked. And God willing, everything happened. And apparently, was able to practice it, come up, and I was able to do my. So I knew that even though, see, hard work beats talent, but when talent starts working hard, there's no stopping.
True.
Yeah, this is one quote that I try to live by. So that's what I'm saying. So if you tap that talent earlier for those kids, I think that's going to really change. And since I've come back, that's what I've felt, that, people are much, they're trying to listen. And it's been there. We've been growing.
So you see an extreme positive change in the society.
I'm a positive guy. I'd like to see that. I think what you emulate, you get.
A journalism is not pessimist, but he has to see both sides of the
I totally
story.
understand. Yeah, of course.
Because that is how things would get better.
Yeah.
Because if we are reassured within our hearts that everything is okay, we cannot keep a reality check on everything that's happening wrong.
Well, I think reality check for me are your articles every day. And
Thank you.
trust me, it's been since I've come back, and I'm sure you've been sharing every 2-3 days with me. It's just been amazing. I've read a lot. So I've seen a lot of positive articles.
We are still trying to learn. We're trying to learn what the society wants, what the youth wants. We came to the youth on young guns today. You're a young gun. So drugs in society is a big problem.
Yes.
And drugs menace in Himachal is also a very serious issue. In continuation to this problem, we're making a short motivational movie called Hilta Himachal. The idea behind the movie is not to condemn the state or the people or the youngsters. It is again a reality check. We cannot hide the reality from our own self. We cannot go away for what is the truth. So what do you have to say about drugs in youth, and how would you as a young gun give a message to those youngsters to quit drugs and live a healthy life?
I feel that the only message that I have is that there is a better life waiting for them, and it's nothing that it can't be foreclosed onto. I think it's just passing on the right message, and I feel as long as anyone who's in touch with them, who loves them, and I'm sure they just need to know that somebody loves them and they want to see them outside of this problem, because I don't think there's in any way no one can really in long term sustain. And it's just, I feel that people need to really get out of it. And I'm really applauding your effort that if you're coming out with a reality check movie, and that should really pass on great message because I haven't seen anything like it.
The idea is to contribute our share of work to the society. We're very practically versed with the truth that the whole society won't change, but even we bring a little change to the society, we think our work is done. And this would also start up a chain of people who would join us, who would encourage people. We're using scientific programs, we're using practical techniques to root out this drug menace. Because just when we hear these politicians, these NGOs speak big words on drugs menace, on eradicating drugs in society, and nothing's happening. So we're coming up with a dramatic reconstruction of practical life ways as to how we will lay up a very, very positive structure to the parents, to friends, to everyone who has lost a dear friend or a son, or any person who had real talent in the person and who wasted all their lives in drugs.
So have you been able to come up with some sort of organizations that are helping you out?
Yeah. People are coming up. It means the success rate is, I think, almost 100%. Almost everyone whom we share this thing with, they're coming up with us. We have started making the movie, and let's see. We would request you to join us.
For sure.
Because you're a youngster, an inspiration youngster who's been looked upon by many people. So if you also
It'll be an honor.
join the cause. So it's going to be for the betterment of the society.
Yeah, it's an honor. It'll be an honor.
It was truly a pleasure speaking to you, Rishabh.
Thank you so much.
And we look forward to interviewing you very soon after a series of achievements.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was Rishabh Chopra with us on Gen X India's Young Guns. Rishabh, after opening up his recent vision of the Southvale School, spoke to us on the education systems, on what makes Southvale a world-class education institution. Rishabh also shared his feelings of what deprived in his own system and what he felt the society should have got much back. We honor Rishabh Chopra's dynamic vision for giving back society much more than what he himself got, and we look forward to getting greater and better education systems to Southvale School. Signing off from the Search Report News, this is Girish Suri. Jai Hind, Jai Himachal.